dead. Dead is just a word.
On October 17th.
It's the grabber.
She came to me in my dream.
See the movie that audiences are losing sleep over.
What do you think happens when you die in a dream? It's time to find out.
Ethan Hawke.
I'm not afraid of you.
You should be.
Black Phone 2. Only in theaters October 17th. Rated R.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast Gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast Gems.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I thought I saw something.
I lose you guys again. What?
Someone.
What's going on? What are you guys looking at? Abaddon eyes. That's what we call it. Everybody feels like they saw something out of the corner of their eyes or just felt like they were being watched. Happens to all of us. Just our imagination's messing with us.
Abaddon eyes.
You coming?
Hello, sir.
Hello, gentlemen. How
All
are you?
right.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, and I'm guessing you can hear me.
Yes.
We can, yeah. We can hear you and see you. It's the magic of
Great.
the internet.
Great.
Nice to meet you, number one.
Nice to meet you as well.
I'm Mike. This is Casey.
Casey, good to meet you.
We started a podcast called Abaddon Eyes
Great to meet you.
when the last one came out is when we did the first episode of that, and we had the honor of talking to a lot of the people, and Mr. Cognetti was very guarded on the information that he gave us, and so we went in we went into this movie thinking I guess number one, we went into it thinking all of our questions were going to be answered. And I got to tell you that wasn't the case. You have turned out to be a pivotal character, it seems, in this story. And I want to start by just asking you about you, and then let's get into the character, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So,
absolutely.
How did you get pulled into this universe?
A lucky find. I was searching Backstage, which is a common website for actors when
Sure.
you're looking for work.
Right.
And I came across an audition notice, and it just said horror film being shot in Northeast PA.
Mm-hmm.
That was all I needed to see. I love horror movies.
Yeah.
And in the description, it said that this was going to be a new entry in the Hell House film series. Now, in all honesty, I did not know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the name Hell House because it's actually the name of a book that I really like from the great science fiction horror writer Richard Matheson.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was also a movie in the early 70s with Roddy McDowall and Clive Ravel. It was called The Legend of Hell House.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wasn't familiar with it. And like, anything else, I sent my headshots.
Sure.
And truthfully, most of the time you get crickets. I mean, this is
Right.
a business with a 99% rejection rate.
Sure.
So, and after a few months, I kind of forgot about it. And then one day I get a message from Stephen Cognetti. And he had said, "Hey, I'm sorry about the delay, but I saw your headshot. Would you like to do an audition for us?" I said, "Sure." So he sent me the scene that we ended up doing in Origins.
Yeah.
And after a second audition, I got the part. It was that quick.
That's amazing.
Great.
These, you can say one thing about Mr. Cognetti: he shoots fast. So you don't.
Oh yes.
we read somewhere that this was about 16-day shoot, something like that. What? How much time did you spend on?
Yes, Lineage was. I was there for, I'd say, 4 days.
Yeah.
Usually they have you arrive the night before because you start, pretty much early the next day. And then a day, just I got to hang with the cast.
Sure.
Which is really what I enjoyed the most on this. I mean, I loved doing the scenes that we did, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when I did Origins, I was only on set for a day.
Right.
I literally drove to the Fern Hall Estate, which is where the Carmichael Manor is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only there for a few hours. I did my scenes and then I drove home. So this time I actually got to spend, a couple of nights there. And, the cast, we had such a great time. I mean, I only got to meet Bridget and Destiny the first time I
Right.
worked on this because we had our scene in Origins. And then I met James Liddell, who played Chase,
Right.
very briefly. So this time around, I actually got to work with Elizabeth, who plays Vanessa, and
Yes.
she is just excellent in this movie. I
Yes.
cannot say enough great things about her performance. Such a great actress and a really sweet person. But I also got to do a scene, as you saw, with Gideon,
Yes.
who plays Patrick,
Yes.
another phenomenal actor. He brought so much raw emotional intensity to that part. It was really something to watch. And
I don't think
have a
he
scene with-
ages either, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody needs to look in his closet for a painting or something. Yeah.
And also Kayla and Victoria, and then getting reunited with Bridget and Destiny again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then hanging with Steven and Joe. I mean, they are just wonderful.
Joe's a
you know,
nut.
when we
We interviewed him
Oh, yeah.
last time, and he is a nut. Yeah, he's a great personality. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And they have such a relaxed. Don't get me wrong; it's hard work. This
Sure.
is indie film,
Yeah.
and as you pointed out, there were very limited amount of shooting days, so you have to be on your game. You have to be ready to go.
Absolutely.
But Joe and Steven established such a relaxed, comfortable set to be on. It's so much fun. You really don't want to leave.
Yeah.
I've been on film sets where there's just ego clashing and
Sure.
tension. None of that. The only tension you see is what's on screen.
That's really great.
So, absolutely.
I would imagine it's really hard to find people to work with like that. That's probably the exception, not the rule. And that's just in life. It's hard to find people that you're willing to work with or that you enjoy working with. Let's put it that way. So let me. I'm going to ask you one question here, and you can answer it or not answer it. It's either way because I don't know how much is still guarded. But are you the other clown?
I am allowed to talk about it. I just
Okay.
have to give the preface that attention. There are spoilers coming.
Sure.
The character that is revealed in this is Freddie Perkins. Now, he is one of the two clowns
Okay.
that's in that photo that was brought up in Origins.
Yeah.
Tommy Rollins and Freddie Perkins.
Right.
Freddie is the one with the dark black jacket.
Right.
And the red.
The one that's always stuck in the closet for some reason. Yeah.
The one that was in the closet.
Yeah.
That I thought was really, that was clever. And I'll be honest, and this is a great story.
Yeah.
I don't even think Steven had any idea that my character was going to be brought back.
Sure.
The script for Origins, there was no indication that this was even an evil person of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pretty straightforward caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's the character I kind of call the breadcrumb guy because he was laying out a lot of the stuff that was going to happen later.
Yeah.
But I had a few chats with Steven about it, and no, there was nothing in there that said, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is who you really are, and this is what's going to happen in the next movie."
Sure.
So, I prepared the character the way I do anything else. I take what's in the script, I talked with the director, and then I created my own history. When you hear actors say that we do our homework, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that when we appear on camera, mentally we are exactly where that character should be.
Sure.
And my history with him was just, okay, this was someone who knew the Carmichaels.
Uh-huh.
This was a terrible tragedy that really affected him. So he had two tones. The first was just procedural, what you would expect from somebody in his position, kind of nerdy, very mild.
Certainly.
With the exception of when the family is discussed. And there was a noticeable shift, and I did that on purpose. It made him uncomfortable. Now, my intention was just well, of course he's uncomfortable. This is a family he knew, and this was a horrible, visceral tragedy.
Yeah.
He's not going to be comfortable talking about it.
Right.
Apparently, the fans took it differently, because sometime after that, someone pointed out to me that, they're talking about your character on a lot of these fan pages, and I started scrolling through some of the threads, and it blew me away.
Yeah.
They saw it as he's somebody who's hiding something. He's being secretive.
Mm-hmm.
That was not my intention, but it worked to my advantage, because I think Steven picked up on that and decided, well, let's have some fun with this then.
Yeah, I described you earlier today as kind of Renfield, kind of like the caretaker, the person who's there that facilitates the evil things that are going to happen, if that makes sense to you.
Oh yeah.
In this one, you definitely were a much bigger character, because we get to the end and I'm like, oh, dear Lord, now this guy's tied into it, and so it was a great reveal. We enjoyed that part of it. I would love to see, and I don't know if you guys are doing more, and I'm sure that that's not a question you can answer right now, but if you do more of these, I would love to see your character be more involved, just simply because you are like facilitating all of this evil.
Yeah. It totally retcons your character.
Yeah.
Because like I told Mike, I said it made everything from Origins go from completely innocuous to completely evil.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said he had to meet with the board of directors
Yeah.
to get the ability for them to come in and stay. And then in my mind, it said, okay, he's getting them to come in and stay because as a child, she was supposed to be taken by the clown at the county fair. And if you never get off the list, if you miss it once, they're coming back for you.
Yeah.
And then
That's interesting. That's an interesting interpretation.
Yeah. And then the other thing is when I told Mike, I said the last thing he said as he walks out the door is he goes, oh, by the way, are you interested in the Abaddon Hotel? There's an antique store that has all of this stuff. And I told Mike, there are a couple of times in Origins where they say, this may not have happened if they had not found that stuff in the clock.
Yeah, that was the one thing that raised kind of a flag for me when I was reading the script, because as I said, when I looked at it, I thought, okay, this is a pretty straightforward guy. And then I got to that scene and I thought, why is he telling him that? Mm-hmm. But again, since there was nothing that said, okay, it's for nefarious purposes, I decided in the history that I created for him, I decided that, okay, he's kind of hoping that maybe these two young women, these sleuths, could get answers that he cannot, because he answers to a board of directors. He has to maintain a level of integrity to protect the family legacy, but he wants answers, and that's how I took it. So, but again, the fans thought, no, he's leading them down a path to something else. So, so when Steven, messaged me about Lineage, I was on vacation with my family and I got a message from him. He said, hey, keep this on the low, but I just finished Hell House 5. Yeah. We're bringing Donald back and you're going to have a very dark backstory. That's all it said. And I kind of had to wait for the script to come to see what he was, because everybody was convinced, and I still hear this, they thought I was Patrick. He was a grown man.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it's Patrick Carmichael. They had this all figured out. They were very convinced that's who it was going to be. So it was kind of funny that there I was in a scene with Patrick.
Yeah. Well, that solved that.
Then I got, then I got to the scene in the script where the big reveal happens, and I went, "Damn, that's a mic drop."
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
No kidding. No kidding. Were you a little gleeful whenever you found out you get to be evil?
Oh, absolutely.
I would imagine.
I mean, it's the only time so far that I've had to prepare a character analysis twice for the same character, two very different ways. Because once I knew this is Freddie Perkins, okay, now I've got to go back and rethink who he is. There was only so much written about him. What you saw in Origins, So I had to create a whole, and once again, I went back and just created an entire history. And I even went back and studied cult leaders.
Oh, wow.
You
Yeah.
know, nobody's born evil. Something happens that puts
Certainly.
you on that path. So I looked at, you know, people like Manson and Jim Jones and all these people who, you know, were pretty infamous.
You do have an unnerving calmness about you in the movies, and so that is you. Now that you say that, I am thinking back to just how calm you were about everything, and so you know normally this guy knows the history. You know he knows what's going on here. And so normally people would be creeped out about you. This is just your business. This is just what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was a very conscious choice that I made, because to me, the most people I have met in life who I thought were really not necessarily evil, but intimidating, are the ones who exuded calm. You know, they never showed you their cards. You know, they were very procedural, very calm. I always found those people to be really intimidating, and you know, like, okay, this person has the potential to be very evil. So that's what I tried to mimic in Donald's.
You got to watch out for the quiet ones, you know.
And see, I think Mike and I going back and talking about what you did with the pauses and everything. I never interpreted it as something sinister. I was like, well, the dude is just offended that Margot's going to say, oh, do you think the dad killed everybody? And he's like, why would you ask me that? And to, like you said, it makes him, he always seemed at ease with it.
Yeah.
And I brought up to Mike today, having seen the fifth one, is every time but in Origins, when you go into every room, I told Mike, I said, they always make a point to look at the bed and say, that these characters, the victims were found in their beds. And I'm like, well, the one girl was obviously murdered in her closet by her sister. And I said, this character at some point had to be involved with staging this scene of getting these bodies back into their bed. So when the police show up, the story jives. Yeah. But you didn't know any of it, you know, and that's just my observation of it. But to not let that character know anything that could possibly have happened makes the way you play it.
Oh yeah, well, you know, and that's what I love about the fans of these movies so much, is that they, you know, and hearing it from you as well. I mean, Steven has created such a great folklore to all of this, and the mythology and the history of all the characters, that people come up with their own theories. And you know, again, as an actor, you know, so much of what we do is instinct. And yes, you have a director there, and Steven is a great director. He's very collaborative. And as you've seen, he's very chill, you know, very low-key guy. You know, you wouldn't expect him to have all this crazy, horrific stuff coming out of his mind.
Well, he's the quiet one. He's the quiet one in the ring. Yeah, that's what it is.
Know, but, you know, when he directs, he knows what he wants and he knows what he doesn't want. But he gives you that breathing room. And it's funny, you mentioned that scene in the bedroom where she asked, do you think Arthur did it? There was an alternate take from that. And I'm hoping Steven has it somewhere. And one of the other takes, and he would let us improvise. And he said, let's try this. And he had Bridget grab Destiny while she was holding the camera and drag her over so that the camera's right on my face.
Right.
And she says, can we ask you something? And yeah. Do you think Arthur did it? And Steven told me, just look at the camera with a cold stare and come up with a response. So she asked the question, and I just kind of stared blankly and said, do you have evidence that suggests he did? And I walked off the camera. So it was a fun take, but I like the take Steven used. And when we watched it with a live audience, it actually got a chuckle.
Really?
Unintentionally, yeah.
Oh,
because
that's great.
It was just that uncomfortable silence. Like, that was not a good question to me.
It's got to be so fulfilling to be sitting in an audience like that and have people actually react in real time, because you wait so long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and when we saw Origins, that was with a whole bunch of fans in New York City and Greenwich. Sure. And yeah, the people who were there were just so excited to see it. And of course the cast was there. And but now seeing something that, you know, is on movie screens all over the country.
Yeah.
It was really something to be in the audience, and just there was an audible gasp when I step out from behind the clown.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's so rare that an indie director and writers get to create a universe like this and continue on to five movies. And so
Absolutely.
at a certain point, I have to wonder, and we'll ask Stephen this next week, but I have to wonder, is this just an unfinished puzzle, for the fans to put together in their head?
I've actually just watched an interview with him today, and I get the idea that, of course, there's more stories involved. Sure. He has a lot up here that is, part of this universe and stories I'm sure he'd love to tell. I also understand as a filmmaker, you want to move on, you want to do other things, and he definitely has projects I know he's going to be working on. I think the idea is, and I'll leave it for him to tell you directly, but I get the idea that it's okay. Now, if there's someone out there that has a great story that they want to add to this, I think he probably just wants to take a break for a little while.
I don't blame him. I mean, he's done this for over a decade at this point, and so it's been a while. And I got to tell you, when we first stumbled across these movies, we were intrigued. And the issue is that Casey and I have known each other 30 plus years or whatever, because we're 100 years old each. But
we made our own deals.
Yeah, we made our deals with the devil, and they weren't good. But we tell these kind of stories that just unfold on each other and unfold on each other. And the smallest of details then is a callback to something else, and so I think that's why it intrigued us the most. We wanted to do that Always Sunny thing, with the ribbon and the serial killer timelines and all that stuff. Yeah, Pepe Silva. And so that's why it really intrigued us. And I would say that Casey's probably watched these movies, what do you say, 10 times?
Easy.
Yeah.
I just put them on, let them run in the background.
Yeah, he just has them run in the background. So again, if you're looking for the prototype of a serial killer, maybe, Okay, so what do you think is the result of this movie? And what do I mean by that? I mean, the ending is shocking. When the title card comes up at the end, we both looked at each other and went, "What just happened?" And
well,
so
I believe, if I'm being 100% honest, it was expletive cognetti.
Yeah,
it's
that's right. That's right. Yeah, cognetti. Yeah, we felt kind of like we'd been hit over the head with an entirely new story. And not that that's a bad thing, right? It's just more. When we started this interview, I said that we kind of went into it hoping that questions would be answered and things would be finalized. And now we've got a bigger puzzle in our head than we've ever had at the end of 5 movies. And so that's why I ask, is it something that fans are supposed to put together?
I think they have. I mean, and yes, I've seen. You're not alone, and Stephen knows that too. He knows that there's some divide out there, and I think they have. I get the idea that they would love to see maybe other creative people step forward and maybe carry the torch, so to speak. I really don't want to speak for them on that.
I get you.
But I also understand Stephen has said, and I totally get this. We are so conditioned as audiences, to see a story unfold in a certain way. And most stories, when they conclude, yes, there's that formula of the hero's journey, the end of the story, the hero's accomplished the journey, there's resolution, denouement, whatever you want to call it, before the credits roll, there's a sense of closure.
Yeah.
But then you have films that challenge that, and some of the best horror movies, I think, and I know Stephen was inspired. We talk horror movies a lot on set, and he and I had the same affinity for some of the great, like The Exorcist.
Sure.
Now, yes, that had an ending that was pretty it was resolute. Okay,
Yeah.
the priest sacrificed himself. The girl is healed. Right. But then you have The Shining, and there's so many similarities to this and The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick version. When you think about how that film ended, yes, he froze to death, but then you had that tracking shot that goes on to that photograph, and there he is, and that has been debated for decades.
You've
ever
always
since the film
been here.
came out, that is neat. And let's not forget the ending to The Omen, as directed by the late great Richard Donner.
Sure.
Where the camera comes down and Damien turns at the camera and smiles, and it ends. Like, the hero died in that film trying to, bring an end to all this evil. So I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but, I kind of understood it when I read the script. I was like, okay, yes, this is going to probably cause some divide, but at the same time, the evil is ongoing. The struggle is ongoing. I think Steven did clarify. He does not. He didn't mean to make it sound like this is the end all be all hell house, but for him as a filmmaker, he's kind of putting it to rest.
I don't blame him. I think it's a great time to kind of hand off that torch. And by the way, you were talking about things that don't have an ending. One of the best-selling books ever, the Bible. I mean, it really has no ending. So, I mean, you can start comparing it to that, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and I told Mike this afternoon when we were talking, I said, I thought about it on the drive in before we did this. I said, if you go back to Origins and you go back to the scene where the Abaddon is burning, they have that voiceover. That gentleman is saying that you need to understand that you don't stop evil. It never ends. And that led me to believe, okay, well, you stopped it. You may have slowed it down at the Abaddon, but it jumped to Carmichael Manor. And in that moment of that logo coming up at the end of that movie, to me it was like, okay, you could finish this storyline right here and work on other. You could follow these characters out to the end of their story arc, but understand somewhere else over in Rockland County, the evil still goes on. The whole story never ends. It never ends. It never will.
No. And I think they know that fans are going to, and I've already read some of the theories out there. There are some people who have already started to say, well, here's where I think the story should go. Sure. And I think that's great, though. I mean, you can't ask for more as a filmmaker than to know people are talking about your work.
That's exactly right.
And yes, I've seen some of the negative press on this, and I've seen some of the positive. You have to look at both.
Absolutely.
You can't just cocoon yourself in the praise, because if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because, like I said earlier, this business is 99% rejection.
Yes, sir.
So you have to grow a thick skin. But, I'm very proud of it. I was proud to be there. It was a great experience. I think the film looks wonderful. And I mean, I told Steven when he gave me the script and I saw that twist, I said, thank you for giving me what us actors call the I'm your father moment.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. You end up being the kind of the star of it at the end there. So have you talked about any plans past this? And again, maybe you can't talk about that.
No,
Okay.
Nobody has said
Okay.
anything to me at this point.
Okay.
If I ever hear something, like I said, it was a surprise when I got the message that they were going to do part 5. That they were bringing my character back.
You just need to go on vacation more often.
Yeah.
You get more parts.
I tried to. I mean, the best part of this whole thing for me too was the fact that I got to see this in a theater with my family.
Yeah.
My wife and I have been together almost 30 years.
Wow.
We have 2 daughters, and raising teenagers, you're not always cool as a parent, but dad being in a horror movie, dad's kind of
definitely.
cool.
It gave you a little coolness there for a few minutes at least. Yeah, we between my wife and I, we had 5 teenagers in the house at one time, and I would not recommend. That is a 1-star.
2 is my limit.
Yeah,
2
good.
is my limit.
Good. It should be. Okay, so did you have anything else you wanted to ask him about his character? Because I had one more thing I was going to ask him.
No, I think the only other thing we talked about was after the reveal in this movie, I said it makes the line that you had, "Is the priest going to be joining us?" mean something totally different. I told Mike he just wanted another body to throw in the fire at that point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, here's a funny story about shooting that. What people don't realize is that the location that we use, the Fern Hall Estate, in the film, it's made to look very isolated. In reality, it's not. Where Sierra Saka and I were standing, literally over our shoulders, about 20 feet away, is the main road, which was pretty quiet for most of the day.
Yeah.
Except when it was time for us to shoot that scene. We had to start and stop multiple times. We would just get into the nitty gritty of the scene and then, okay, cut, let's try that again. I'm so glad you make it, stopping and starting. I felt so bad because I knew Steven was going to have to cut that together, but he it worked. And same with the reveal. That was a little tricky. Those clown mannequins are pretty tall.
I would imagine, yeah.
And the first time we tried it, here's the clown's chest, and I'm like here. So it wasn't exactly. So they had to bring in blocks for me to stand on.
Oh, wow.
So that I could match the height. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I could peek from behind, and that was. That's
That's
different.
cool, though. I mean, that's movie magic, right? I mean, the roll of duct tape and a couple of boxes, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number one, thank you so much for taking this time. We really appreciate it. You should be very proud of your performance, and you should be proud of what you've done, and we as fans appreciate it. So, is there anything else you're working on, or what else are you looking for?
Well. Sure. I have a regular performing gig in the Hershey area, Hershey's Chocolate World to be specific.
Yeah.
I'm an app performer there.
Okay.
But I also still do projects where I can. I have a new project that I'm shooting in October, a supporting role in a film that's being shot in the Lancaster, PA area, and it's a complete 180 from the horrors of the Abaddon and the Carmichael.
Yeah.
It's actually a movie that is done by a faith-based film company.
Okay.
And it's a very touching. I don't play an evil character.
Okay. Because there's probably only one in that one. Yeah.
True story. Yeah. It's a great true story.
That's
and
great.
I get to have a supporting role in that.
So how long have you been acting?
On and off. Almost 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
But only recently have I, found any kind of, steady work like this.
Isn't that crazy?
It's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Hell House just kind of came along. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah. I bet you could get a lot of horror movies all of a sudden.
Yeah, could be.
We'll see. You know what? I've certainly, I have had some interesting projects come my way that I have turned down.
Yeah.
I mean, I always consider my family and,
Sure.
there are just certain things I'm not comfortable with. But, sure, if the right horror film comes along, I'll
Absolutely.
definitely read a script.
Well, thank you again. We really enjoyed meeting you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You don't have to take this kind of time, and we do appreciate it. This is kind of what we do here. We do podcasts and media and stuff, and I know how hard it is to set the time aside, especially when you have a life, and so we do appreciate it.
Well, and
absolutely.
I was going to say, and we appreciate the fact that most everybody that's come on is very willing to talk about their process and what that's what we find most interesting is, okay, we saw the character, but now I want to see the person who invented the character, and really, just like you talked about today, it was great.
It's really interesting to hear you talk about developing the character and all their backstory and stuff. I think that's the part that Casey and I both would enjoy the most, is just making that up out of whole cloth, just being able to invent someone.
Happy to do it. It's nice to have people who want to know about that process, because everybody just assumes we make it up, and no, there's a lot of prep work that goes into that before you stand in front of a camera.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Well, we again, thank you so much, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
You as well.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Goodbye. You can find Abaddon Eyes exploring the Hell House LLC universe anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com.
I found the gateway, and it's glorious. Play us a song.
This has been a Rogue Media Network